police brutality. That is the danger that we will end up bitter. That is the danger and the ever-present temptation. We will retaliate with violence. And I hope this afternoon that we will continue to see that nonviolence is the most potent weapon available to the Negro in his struggle for freedom and human dignity.
King also realized the importance of supporting younger generations, and he took part in a student movement that quickly expanded nationally. He was again doing the right thing as young people started bringing a new and positive energy into the movement.
This unprecedented gathering of young people, I cannot help thinking that 100 years from now, the historians will be calling this not the Beat Generation, but the generation of integration.
In 1960, President JFK was elected, and the time came for the first meaningful government action to take place. Eventually, he decided to bring public awareness to the civil rights movement. In the next years following his election, it had gained more popularity throughout white people, and more of them joined in demonstrations, challenging discriminatory laws. In 1961, segregation was officially ended in interstate travel.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Today we are committed to a worldwide struggle to promote and protect the rights of all who wish to be free. It ought to be possible, therefore, for American students of any color to attend any public institution they select without having to be backed up by troops. It ought to be possible, in short, for every American to enjoy the privileges of being American without regard to his race or his color. In short, every American ought to have the right to be treated as he would wish to be treated. The Negro baby born in America today, regardless of the section of the state in which he is born, has about 1/2 as much chance of completing a high school as a white baby, born in the same place on the same day. 1/3 as much chance of completing college. 1/3 as much chance of becoming a professional man. Twice as much chance of becoming unemployed. 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression. And this nation, for all its hopes and all its boasts, will not be fully free until all its citizens are free.
In 1962, the first black student, James Meredith, was admitted at the University of Mississippi. In the beginning of 1963, the movement was still growing, but it didn't come without a harsh cost. Larger and larger demonstrations were taking place, along with more violent and cold-blooded confrontations from the police. People of all ages, even children, were getting arrested in mass and killed in protests. But the pressure and need for change was never greater than in '63. The movement remained peaceful, and this was powerful. It made America finally realize that black people were being victimized by an incredibly wrong system. Justice was long awaited, and people could no longer wait. JFK declared that he had seen enough and urged for a peaceful revolution to take place.
In the last year, there was a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Could it happen to you?
Somebody used my identification. They had a driver's license in my name, and they had actually purchased a $50,000 vehicle and drove it off the lot. I thought this only happened in the movies. I didn't know what to do, but thankfully I had LifeLock.
With LifeLock, you have a team of experts on your side. Every member gets identity theft detection and alerts, a U.S.-based restoration agent to fix issues, and LifeLock's $1 million protection package, providing experts and lawyers if needed.
My membership included coverage for an attorney, so I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. LifeLock provides the type of protection I need.
Help protect what's yours with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Call the number on your screen or visit lifelock.com. Use promo code MY25 to save 25% off your first year. Call right now.
There's gotta be a better way. At Good To Go Insurance, you can get coverage with as little as $20 down despite your driving record. Get an online quote for a low monthly payment in less than a minute. Save money by only paying for the coverage you need and get proof of insurance on the spot. Visit goodtogo.com and get coverage fast, cheap, and easy. That's goodtogo.com.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. With men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible.
Download Pray.com right now and learn the Bible with James Earl Jones.
I turned my astrology gift into a business, which I'm sensing will require getting some help on my taxes.
I'd love to help. We can reduce your tax bill with quarterly payments.
I knew you were going to say that.
Or you do your thing. We've got your taxes. Into it. TurboTax Live.
Because somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right.
Pleasure now to present the moral leader of our nation, one who has conducted a massive moral campaign in the southern area of the nation against the citadel of racism, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I think this march will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, demonstrations for freedom and human dignity ever held in the United States.
In August 1963, King helped to organize the famous and historic March on Washington for freedom and jobs. Over 250,000 people, black and white, attended this march in an effort to show the importance of civil rights legislation. It was at this march where King uttered the most iconic words, which are still seared in the minds of so many. They reached and impacted millions. They made Americans feel free.
Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for whites only. No, I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day Even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
This speech has become one of the most famous, influential, and transformative speeches in history. The march was seemingly a success, although hatred and violence against black people seemed to continue. On November 22, 1963, the world received devastating, shocking news. JFK was assassinated. The man in the fight for justice and representing hope for the future had just died. Dreams were shattered. America's persistent violent climate proved that there was still a lot to do and to overcome. King even said that in these conditions, he saw the same thing happening to him, and that he would never see his 40th birthday. In 1964, new President Lyndon Johnson was elected and America began the Vietnam War. The country was more divided than never before. King kept hope that greatest achievements were yet to come. He wasn't wrong. Johnson committed himself to complete Kennedy's work. In fact, later the same year, President Johnson's first achievement became his greatest, as he passed a law prohibiting all racial discrimination, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which became the most important legislation bill signed since the 15th Constitutional Amendment of 1870.
Its purpose is not to punish. Its purpose is not to divide, but to end divisions. Its purpose is national, not regional. It is a challenge in our community.